Okay chaps, well, this time I'm actually recording the video, let's try it. Okay, so I thought I'd give you a quick demo of this MIST FPGA. So inside that it's a dual core ARM processor, and essentially half of it's being used for the hardware emulation or as an FPGA. SD card in the front, so that's where all the ROM images and cores and other software reside. There's a specific directory structure that you need to use for that. 3 buttons on the front. First one here is the reset button. Middle one is the select button, so you can select the disk images. The menu comes up on screen when you press that. And the third one is a local reset if the core supports it. On the back, we can get round there, we've got a power switch just there. You've got 4 USB ports, power in there, that's just micro USB, and audio out, that's the green cable, and the VGA out there. And on the side we've got 2 9-pin Ds. They're not serial ports, they're actually used for old analog Amiga style joysticks. And on this side we've got 2 MIDI ports. Now in theory some of this hardware could be remapped by messing around inside the box and adding some additional daughter boards and things, but this is pretty much bog standard at the moment as shipped from the factory. Okay, so this has just been configured with 4 cores at the moment, but there are others available. So we've got there an Amiga, an Archimedes. Core is just the boot core, so don't worry about that. Sinclair QL and a Spectrum 48. So some of the cores are better developed than others. The Amiga one's pretty good. That supports hard drives, floppy drives, joysticks, mouse, keyboard, obviously, audio out. There's no onboard network support, unfortunately, although there is a daughter board that you can add. Can't remember the part number, but it's like an Arduino add-on board, if you can be bothered. So if we fire up the Amiga, so this is actually going to boot from a hard drive image. It's using a core called Minimig. When it comes up, there you go. Obviously the Amiga was originally designed to operate in a 4:3 aspect ratio, but I've fudged this to come up as 16:9, so it should fill the screen hopefully. There you go. Okay, and this is Workbench 3.1 I think, with a few extra bells and whistles. So there's some games installed on the hard drive, which, believe it or not, for an Amiga was actually quite an advanced thing to do. And there you go, we can fire up, let's pick one of those, like, I don't know, Xenon 2. Which Sean will probably remember. Okay, there we go. Alright, so joystick does work on this one. Okay, a bit difficult playing with the wrong hand, but okay, that was impressive. You literally can't play it with one hand, but anyway, you get the idea. So that works fine. So let's just reset the MIST, and then Archimedes. Now this particular core on the MIST doesn't seem to support hard drives, although there is a hard drive image on there, but the core doesn't seem to recognise it, so maybe it just needs a bit more tweaking, I don't know. Oh, it takes a couple of minutes to come up. Well, not a couple of minutes, a few seconds. There we go, RISC-OS 3. Okay, and that's an Archimedes. So if I press the middle button on the MIST, that'll come up with a menu. See, no option for a hard drive there, but we do have floppy support on it. So if I go into the Archimedes directory on the SD card, and then we can select Pac-Mania. In theory, you should just be able to exit from there, and that should then have put that into drive 0. Voila, Pac-Mania. Now, I haven't managed to get the joysticks working on this. Don't think it's got any joystick support, and this is one of the flaws with a lot of these cores. The I/O is a bit limited, but the MR cores seem to be a bit better. But the principle's basically the same. So, wasn't overly impressed with the sound on this core. It seems to be dropping a bit. But the response on it is actually pretty respectable. There you go. Again, I only play with one hand, so it's a bit tricky, but you get the idea. So it'll happily run Archimedes games. Okay, and let's have a look at the Sinclair QL. This isn't bad, but again, the I/O is a bit lacking on this particular core, and the disk format or microdrive format they've used is slightly proprietary or non-standard. So you have to convert the disk images first, which is a bit annoying. But if we load up a microdrive here, okay, let's go for QL, which was the old original Scion word processor for the QL. If we just do a quick directory, MDV1, okay. There we go. All right. And if we do an L run, MDV1 underscore boot, it should boot up QL. Again, with no I/O, it's about as useful as tits on fish. I mean, you can work on a document, you can save it. You can't print it directly because there's no I/O for the printer, but obviously you could pop the SD card out and stick it on our machine if you were so inclined. But anyway, there you go, that works. Okay, and here's one for Martin. Sinclair ZX Spectrum 48K. Okay, and it comes up here, right? Obviously we have a sort of more standard keyboard, not one of those weird Sinclair Spectrum keyboards with 50 functions on one key. But if you just want to play games on it, press the middle button, go into the menu, select a Spectrum game, I don't know, like Jet Set. Oh, wonderful sound effects for you. There you go. Jet Set Willy, how awful. Right, okay, and there's more cores that you can add, but the bottom line is this thing is kind of okay for playing games, not much good for anything else, which is why you really need to go for a MR or something like that, or whatever, providing you can get the cores. Anyway, I thought that might be helpful. Catch you later.